Hello there and welcome to the presentation series called The Current Trend in Individual Life Underwriting and in the Life Insurance Industry. We are at a critical juncture of this presentation series where we have been trying to take an overview as to what is happening in the industry, and now we are at a point where we want to see with these predictive modelings and different tools and technologies that major companies are piloting to start using it, how our customers feel. So now we will be focusing primarily on our customers and see what they think about the entire process. Our customers are at the center of anything and everything we do. So remember, we previously talked about the FCRA or the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Okay, so anything and everything that is out there in your credit report is FCRA data. That is something available as a background check when you apply as a customer for any individual life insurance coverage, that can be used while screening your insurance application by home office underwriter who may be working for any company. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA. To begin with, it started to make sure that whatever is out there in your health record, medical records, how it can be protected, taken care, privacy, sensitivity, how those are maintained. We all have our health insurance. So that along with those, how the medical records can be used when you apply for the individual life insurance application. You will notice in the underwriting process that sometimes the underwriters will be saying that we need a special auth, HIPAA auth, that is out there with the application, but some major medical facilities, they would want to sign that special release form. The VA, Cleveland Clinic, some medical facilities are there, they would want to have their own special auth that goes with the HIPAA, so that your medical records can be released and we can take a look at that. MIB, for some of the customers, this may not be a known word, but it stands for Medical Information Bureau. In the industry, there are many companies out there. What happens, let's say for example, you apply at a State Farm and you admitted on the application that you have a heart attack or a stroke or whatever the case may be, and either they turn you down or they ask to pay extra premium, you didn't like that, you may think that, you know what, forget it, I don't want coverage from you guys, okay, I will try different company, maybe Allstate or a New York Life or a Prudential or American National or Lincoln Financial. Majority of the companies out there in the industry, they are the members of MIB or the Medical Information Bureau. So what MIB does, MIB shares all the details to the members in their network. So as a result, what happens that once you got rated or asked to pay extra premium or turned down by one company, those details as a red flag, as an alert is out there in their system, and that would alert any other companies that you may subsequently apply for to see if you can get coverage or if you get a coverage at a better deal. It doesn't mean that any company can just rely on the MIB. It is just a trigger to alert the underwriter to investigate further. And we can get into a lot of more details. There are complex scenarios as it relates to the MIB, but it may be beyond the scope of this presentation. But just to alert you that the way it works, what is out there in your credit report, when we talk about FCRA, just like that, what is out there in MIB, as long as particular company is the member of that MIB or a part of that MIB group, then they will be able to see those details. There are various state-specific laws, rules and regulations to make sure that all the customers are treated fairly without discrimination. They are there to protect the privacy, sensitivity and all that. We were talking about the predictive modeling. Any data and every data that is used in this process, as long as they are based on the sound actuarial principles and they are not prohibited by the law, okay, and if so, they are okay to follow those predictive models. But there are various state-specific laws that may be very specific in a particular state, but they are all there, and we can have a laundry list of various states with various statutes, rules and regulations. But suffice to say at this point that companies make sure that they are in compliance with rules, regulations, a letter of the law and the spirit of the law in whatever states they are selling their various life insurance products. In the industry, the big buzz, and it has created a lot of uneasiness recently in this year, is about the New York circular that went out, and I will touch base on that later on in this presentation series. One important thing to note is, when you sit down with the agent or the broker, or even if you submit the online application, you consent to, through your life insurance application, you consent to release this data, these details to the company where you are applying for the life insurance. So they have your permission to use this data. Next time when you apply for life insurance, read the lot of paperwork that you are just signing without reading. You are giving consent to the company where you are applying for the coverage to allow them to use this data, your credit report, your medical records, permission to release whatever info is out there in the MIB network, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's move on. So these are just the details about the prior slide. If we are talking about FCRA, everything that is out there in our credit report, because we all are customers. So everything that is out there in the credit report, the law is out there to protect the customers or the consumers, to make sure that all the details and the data and the info are accurate, up to date, correct. There is no negligence, there is no misrepresentation by anyone reporting anything in your file. Okay? The HIPAA that I was referring to, it stipulates how personally identifiable info maintained by the healthcare and healthcare insurance industries. And of course, when you apply for the life insurance, we need your medical records depending upon what medical history you may have. And if so, that requires the home office underwriter to order the medical records. And while that happens, every company in the life insurance industry will make sure that they meet these legal requirements. And as I was saying, that the law supports the privacy rule, the security rule. It sets the rules and the limits on who can look at and receive your health info. The privacy rule applies to all forms of individuals' protected health info, PHI, whether electronic, written or oral. And you consent to this when you apply for the life insurance. Just to give you an overview of the MIB or the Medical Information Bureau, that is out there since 1902. The purpose of this MIB is to ensure that companies can offer and consumers can purchase affordable life and health insurance protection. It goes beyond life, it covers the health insurance also. And the goal is, if we are all transparent, open, honest, and admit all the details up front, whether we apply for life or health insurance coverage, then the members of the MIB can provide a reasonable coverage to you. That's the idea. Now, as far as the individual life insurance application goes, or the coverage goes, you have to have applied somewhere, then only you will see something in your file that is being maintained by the MIB. Okay, so let's say you haven't applied anywhere in life insurance for the individual life insurance ever, then you will not have anything in the MIB. As I was referring to before, the big buzz that has created a lot of noise and uneasiness in the industry is about the New York circular that went out in the beginning of this year. Because there have been few instances or perceptions about these predictive models are being used not in compliance with the law. And I said that those were the perceptions. So, just to reiterate and make sure that every company does follow the legal requirement, the rules and regulations, the circular went out beginning of this year to all the insurers authorized to write life insurance in New York State. This is New York specific, but we can relate to in the entire United States and the spirit behind that. So, it does come up with two important elements or the aspects, that there should not be any unlawful discrimination, and it reiterates the importance of being transparent to the customers. The consumer disclosure should be there. So those are the two aspects that the New York circular is emphasizing on. And I was going to, but it's too lengthy, so I'm just, instead of releasing the entire circular, I'm just sharing with you the last paragraph or the conclusion of the New York circular. And few things to note here and make a note. It does support the efforts in the industry about the use of technology and the predictive models to streamline the process and to better serve the customers. So yes, if you can minimize the time cycle from 45 to 60 days, from the range of 45 to 60 days to 5, 10 or 20 days, why not? So it does support the efforts in the industry to streamline the process, as long as every company that provides the financial services through selling the life insurance are consistent with the law. And for that, the predictive models that they use in underwriting or rating are okay, as long as those are not unfairly discriminatory and they are based on the sound actuarial principles. Okay, so there are both sides to that. Remember the persistency ratio and the overall benefit of predictive modeling has been helping lots of customers. So when we are taking the advantage of those predictive models, we want to make sure that we meet the legal requirements and we don't lead to any sort of practice that may be labeled as discriminatory. Okay. So just to paraphrase again, through your consent on the life insurance application, you are telling these life insurance companies that it's okay to use your FCRA data, okay to use your medical records if needed, through HIPAA oath. It's okay to share the details that is out there in the MIB group within the network. Every application will have a separate page that will tell you to sign, and you are signing, you are consenting to these different rules and regulations that it's okay to be released. And that's how these things are happening. So you can go to any of these websites and see what are your rights. You are doing in writing, electronically or paper version, no matter what. But because of your consent, these things are legal, and without this nothing would work. It is just like your background check.